If you go to the 10 Ants Hill website, you'll find a big sign warning you that this page is under construction. That's a depressingly appropriate metaphor for their brand new game, The Karters, a mostly incomplete project inspired by the great Crash Team Racing. It's a game that's clearly still months, if not a year away from being ready to go. Yet that didn't stop the Polish developer from launching the game on Steam with an absurd $20 asking price. That's just the first of a long list of terrible decisions made by 10 Ants Hill. Because this is going to be an overwhelmingly negative review, I want to start out by saying something nice about the Karters. For all the things it gets wrong, and there are a lot, the one consistently good thing about this game is the level designs. The 6 tracks generally look fantastic, and even offer multiple paths and shortcuts, which initially gave me hope that there might actually be something to this game. But the further I got, the more I realized that all hope was lost. Simply put, this is a boring and painfully generic kart racing game with no depth or reason to exist. It doesn't bring anything new to the table, nor give us a reason to pick it over the hundreds of other kart racers on the market. And it's actually worse than that, because at least those other kart racers were fully developed. This is a mess of a game that can't help but remind you that it's incomplete at every turn. The first sign of trouble is when you're forced to pick between 6 lame characters with names like Puma, Pablo, Bobby, and Sir Ronald. There's no theme or consistency between these racers, with some sporting floating heads and others looking like the kind of animal companion that you might find in a bad Disney cartoon. They don't drive interesting vehicles or have anything worthwhile to say. In fact, the little dialogue they have is repeated non-stop throughout every single race, all but guaranteeing that you're gonna hate all these characters by the time you're done with the Karters. Another problem is that the races are slow and lack any kind of excitement. I'm not sure if it's because the tracks are too long or because there just aren't enough aggressive racers to compete against, but I found every mode and event to be the very definition of boring. It doesn't help that 2 of the single-player modes strip out the other racers entirely, instead forcing you to compete against the clock and pick up floating letters on the track. It's almost as if the rest of the modes were designed to lower your expectations so that the terrible race events looked good in comparison. And then there are the items you pick up while driving, a staple of the kart racing genre. Every time you run over one of the mystery boxes, the game spins through about a half dozen or so different items. But I'm convinced that there are only 2 that are actually available in the game. You can either use a turbo boost or drop a little toxic goo, which are both pretty standard items for this type of game. If there are more, then I was incredibly unlucky. I raced through literally every track, and those were the only 2 items that ever popped up. I just have to assume that the rest of the pickups will be available when the game is completed, sometime down the road. There are also a handful of technical problems holding the Karters back. One of the weird bugs is how the computer will get confused and not know what place you're in. I mean, you'll be all the way in front, and the computer will think you're in second. Or you'll have a situation where there's clearly somebody in front of you, but the game thinks you're in first. The Karters also has an issue where you'll be able to drive right through the backgrounds and objects. Granted, that ended up working to my advantage more than not, but it's clear this game still has a lot of kinks to work out. From the lame characters to the boring races to the technical issues, the Karters still has a long way to go before it's finished. It's the kind of racing game that should have been shuttled off to Steam Early Access until it was ready to go, because the full $20 game that's currently available is absolutely not worth buying. There's not even a proper options menu at this point. When it comes right down to it, the Karters never makes a compelling case for why you should buy it over the countless other kart racers. Hey, thanks for watching our review. So here's the question I have for you. What do you want to see from future kart racers? And I'm not talking about futuristic kart racers, though that's certainly an idea. Or is that Wipeout? Anyway, let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. In other news, I'm currently hard at work on a bunch of reviews, including Rainbow Skies, Agony, I Hate Running Backwards, and more. I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,